In lesson 1 you have seen a general introduction to the SHIPDEX protocol. In lesson 2 you have seen the standard structure of a SHIPDEX dataset. In lesson 3 you have understood how it is possible to navigate through a SHIPDEX dataset and print the whole, or part of it, using the SHIPDEX viewer. In this lesson 4 you will understand how it is simple and powerful to import a SHIPDEX dataset into a Computerized Maintenance Management System, CMMS. For this scope, we will use the AMOS Shipdex Interface 2 and the AMOS Business Suite, by courtesy of SpecTec Group. This is the home page of AMOS Shipdex Interface 2, the so-called ASI2. We have two main areas. The toolbar with the most important functions. And we have some tabs to customize the import to be in accordance, as much as possible, with the target CMMS database. You can create more than one customization that you can save in different configuration files using the function save or save as. When you start ASI2, you should select your preferred configuration using the Open button. Here I select my preferred configuration or customization. This tab shows the connection to the target database. It is possible to check if the connection works properly, just clicking on Check Connection button. The green light means that the connection to the target CMMS database is working fine. Now, let's give a short look at how it is possible to customize the import into the target CMMS database, using all the other tabs. With the tab, Standard Tables Mapping, it is possible to create a cross-mapping between SHIPDEX standard tables and the codes used into the target CMMS database. Information codes. Manufacturer's identification codes. Personnel category. Unit of measure. And task frequency codes. The other customization tabs depend on the target CMMS. Different CMMS can have different customization tabs. Here we have default values with some options. Import behavior configuration, again with different options. Numbering and coding rules. Functions. These settings can be done just once and then saved for future imports. Now, it's time to see how we can import a SHIPDEX dataset into the target CMMS database. We click on Import Wizard. Then we click on Next button. Then, we have to select the configuration file or customization file we wish to use. The system checks that the configuration file is okay and all the import parameters are okay. Then we should click again on Next. Now it is time to select the SHIPDEX dataset we want to import into the target CMMS database. We select the Furuno Felcom 18 dataset, the same dataset we have already showed in lesson 2 and lesson 3. The system is now doing some checks on the dataset. The selected dataset has the first verification only. The second verification is requested. We can decide to import the dataset, even if the second verification has not been applied by the customer to accept the dataset. This is the IMO number of the ship, where we want to import the SHIPDEX dataset. Now, clicking on the Next button we open another frame, where we can confirm the selected ship we want to upload the data. Here we confirm the ship, AMOS Traveler, with the IMO number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Then we can select the department, where we are importing the SHIPDEX data. In our case we select the maintenance department. Now, Clicking on the next button, we open another frame where we can set some other parameters that are applicable to the product we are importing now. For example, this dataset is related to the component class, electric system. We can set some other parameters, and then, next button again. Now, we ask the system to do the final test that every data is ready to be imported into the target CMMS database. At the end of the analysis, we have the statistics of what will be created into the CMMS database. Click once again on Next. And we start the physical import into the CMMS database. Confirm this choice with Yes. Now the system is importing all the SHIPDEX data contained into the dataset. The import process will take very few minutes. At the end, we will have the statistics of what has been created into the target database, and the full log of operations together with a list of possible warnings or errors. The import has been successfully completed. We can check now if we got some warnings or errors. Click on Next button and we have the final statistics about what has been created into the target database. We can save the statistics. Now, the import is finished. Now, it is very interesting to give a look at the SHIPDEX data imported into the CMMS. In this demonstration, it is the SpecTec AMOS Business Suite. This is the home page of our CMMS, where we have already selected the ship, AMOS Traveler, and the maintenance department. We start checking which components of the Furuno Felcom 18 have been imported into the CMMS. This is the list of the components that ASI2 created automatically. For example, we have the whole Felcom 18 and its antenna unit, alarm unit, junction box, and so on. We can now give a look at the information created for every single component. For example, the antenna unit. This tab shows general information of the component. This tab shows the list of maintenance tasks for this component. In this case, we have two procedures. The first one is how to check the antenna unit. This task must be performed every 12 months. The second one is how to mount the antenna unit. If we select the check task, we can see more detailed information about this maintenance procedure. Clicking on the Detail tab, we can see the description of the task. This description is shown here in a flat or RTF text. Then we can see possible required spare parts, required disciplines, counters. The Attachment tab is very interesting. In this tab, we can see that all the data modules and illustrations related to this task, how to check the antenna unit, are imported and listed here. We have the antenna unit check data module that we can view in HTML format. The content is the same showed as flat text into the previous Detail tab, but here it is showed with the same layout used into the SHIPDEX viewer in Lesson 3. The layout is always the same for all the SHIPDEX data coming from every different supplier. Here we have a reference to the safety information described into another data module. As you have already seen in Lesson 3, it is possible to click the hyperlink and open the safety information data module. This means that, importing SHIPDEX data into a CMMS, we also obtain the possibility to have an advanced navigation through every SHIPDEX manual. Of course, we also have all the illustrations related to the antenna unit. Another very interesting information is the list of spare parts to find for the Falcom 18. We click on the Part tab to obtain the full list of spare parts. Clicking on the Attachment tab, we obtain the list of all the data modules and illustrations related to the Falcom 18. Just as an example, we have spare parts catalog. We can open it just clicking View. These spare parts are the same we have just seen into the previous Part tab. Here the information is presented again with the SHIPDEX Viewer standard layout. We have the support equipment catalog and the supplies catalog. The layout is always the same we have already seen into the SHIPDEX Viewer. Then, we also have a lot of other information in the form of SHIPDEX data modules that we can open and read as we have done using the SHIPDEX Viewer in Lesson 3. For example, the Falcom 18 configuration, or the operational overview. Once again with the standard layout. Or, how to replace the fuse, as we have seen in Lesson 3. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this lesson showed you how it is simple and fast to create a CMMS database just importing SHIPDEX data, and how it is useful to have the whole SHIPDEX manual into your CMMS. If you need more information, please do not hesitate to contact me at webmanager@shipdex.com email address.